Have you ever wondered why some women seem to effortlessly capture a man's heart, while others struggle to keep his attention? It's not just about chemistry or fate. There's a hidden psychological force at work, one that Carl Jung, the legendary psychoanalyst, spent years studying. Jung believed that deep within every man's psyche lives the anima, the unconscious feminine side of his personality. This isn't about gender roles or stereotypes. It's about the invisible blueprint of what he's truly drawn to. The women who recognize this don't just flirt or play games. They connect with a part of him that even he may not fully understand. Think about it. Have you ever met a man who seemed guarded, only to open up in unexpected ways around a certain type of woman? That's no accident. When a woman mirrors the qualities of a man's anima, whether it's warmth, mystery, creativity, or depth, he doesn't just feel attracted to her, he feels seen in a way that's rare and intoxicating. This isn't about changing who you are or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about recognizing the subtle clues that reveal what a man truly desires beneath the surface. Because here's the truth, anyone can be beautiful or charming, but the women who leave a lasting impression are the ones who make a man feel like he's finally met someone who gets him. So, if you've ever wanted to build a connection that goes beyond superficial attraction, stay with me. Because understanding this one psychological insight could change the way you approach relationships forever. Carl Jung's concept of the anima is one of the most fascinating yet often overlooked aspects of human attraction. At its core, the anima represents the unconscious feminine dimension within a man's psyche, a kind of inner imprint of the feminine that influences not just who he's drawn to, but how he relates to women in general. This isn't about conscious preferences or societal conditioning. It's something far deeper, woven into the fabric of his unconscious mind. Jung believed that every man carries within him this feminine counterpart, shaped by his earliest experiences with the feminine, whether it's his mother, sisters, or other significant women in his life. Over time, these impressions coalesce into an internal ideal, a silent force that guides his attractions and emotional responses without him even realizing it. When a woman intuitively recognizes and reflects the qualities of a man's anima, something extraordinary happens. He doesn't just feel attracted to her, he feels an almost primal sense of resonance, as if she's speaking a language his soul understands. This is why some connections feel inexplicably intense from the very beginning. It's not just chemistry at work, but the awakening of something dormant within him. For example, a man whose anima is characterized by nurturing warmth will find himself drawn to women who exude that same caring energy, even if he can't articulate why. Another man, whose anima is tied to creativity or mystery, might feel an irresistible pull toward women who embody those traits. It's as if she's stepping into a role his psyche has been waiting for her to fill, creating a bond that feels both thrilling and strangely familiar. This dynamic explains why some relationships feel destined, while others fizzle out despite surface-level compatibility. A man might date women who check all the obvious boxes, attractive, successful, kind, but if they don't align with his anima, the connection will lack that magnetic depth. On the other hand, a woman who embodies his unconscious ideal can captivate him in ways that defy logic. Take, for instance, the trope of the rational, composed man who falls for a free-spirited artist. On paper, they might seem mismatched, but if his anima longs for creativity and spontaneity, her presence will feel like a missing piece clicking into place. Or consider the stoic businessman who's undone by a woman's quiet wisdom. Her ability to see through his facade and speak to his unvoiced emotions taps directly into his anima's yearning for depth and understanding. The power of the anima isn't about manipulation or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about recognizing that attraction operates on multiple levels, and the most profound connections often hinge on these unconscious echoes. When a woman pays attention to the subtleties of a man's personality, The way he lights up when discussing certain topics, the qualities he admires in others, even the flaws he's oddly drawn to, she's glimpsing the contours of his anima. And when she mirrors those traits authentically, the effect is undeniable. He'll feel not just desired, but deeply known, and that is the kind of pull that transcends fleeting infatuation and lays the foundation for something truly lasting. The most powerful tool a woman possesses in building genuine attraction isn't about altering her appearance or personality, it's about developing the perceptiveness to recognize a man's hidden emotional landscape. This isn't about playing games or employing cheap psychological tricks. It's about cultivating the rare ability to see past the carefully constructed persona every man presents to the world. That polished exterior, the confident professional, the easygoing friend, the reliable partner, is just the surface layer. The real magic happens when you learn to perceive what lies beneath, his authentic self, with all its passions, vulnerabilities, and secret yearnings. Men, often conditioned by society to suppress emotional expression, develop particularly robust social masks. They might appear self-assured and independent, yet beneath that exterior exists a complex inner world they rarely reveal. The women who master the art of noticing these hidden dimensions create connections that feel nothing short of transformative. When a man senses that a woman truly sees him, not just his accomplishments or his role in her life, but the person he is when no one's watching, it triggers a profound psychological response. He doesn't just feel appreciated, he feels understood on a level few others have reached. This creates an emotional bond far stronger than any built on superficial attraction alone. The key lies in developing observational skills that go beyond casual conversation. Start with his passions, those subjects that make his eyes light up and his speech quicken. Whether it's his career ambitions, a creative hobby, or an intellectual pursuit, these are windows into his authentic self. Notice not just what he talks about, but how he talks about it. The topics that spark genuine enthusiasm reveal what truly matters to him at his core. Equally telling are the moments when his usual confidence falters, when discussing certain topics or facing particular challenges. These vulnerabilities, often carefully guarded, represent the tender spots in his psyche where he most needs acceptance and support. Perhaps most powerful of all are his unspoken desires, those dreams and longings he may not voice openly, either out of practicality, fear of judgment, or simply because he's never had someone truly listen. These might surface in passing comments, "I've always wanted to," nostalgic reflections, or even jokes that contain kernels of truth. The woman who picks up on these subtle cues and creates space for them to be explored becomes irreplaceable in his eyes. She's not just another person in his life. She's the one who helps him reconnect with parts of himself he may have neglected or forgotten. This process requires patience and emotional intelligence. It's not about interrogating him or pushing for vulnerability before he's ready. Rather, it's about creating an atmosphere of safety and acceptance where his true self naturally emerges. Ask thoughtful questions, then listen, not just to respond, but to understand. When he shares something personal, resist the urge to immediately relate it back to yourself. Instead, reflect it back to him to show you truly comprehend. Over time, as he experiences your genuine interest and non-judgmental reception, his defenses will lower organically. The beautiful paradox of this approach is that it benefits both partners equally. As you learn to see and appreciate his authentic self, you create space for a relationship built on mutual understanding rather than performance. He gets to experience the rare freedom of being fully known and accepted, while you gain the satisfaction of a connection that transcends superficiality. This is how lasting bonds are formed, not through manipulation or pretense, but through the courageous act of seeing and being seen in all our complex humanity. The process of connecting with a man's anima isn't about imitation or performance. It's about attuning yourself to the subtle language of his unconscious mind. Jung famously observed that the unconscious expresses itself through symbols, metaphors, and recurring themes, often hidden in casual conversation. When a man describes feeling trapped in a cage at work, or talks about a childhood memory of watching the ocean with awe, he's offering glimpses into his deeper self. These aren't just passing comments, they're clues to his inner world. The woman who listens for these symbolic threads and responds with genuine curiosity begins to speak directly to his anima without either of them realizing it. This creates an almost mystical sense of connection, as if she understands him in ways no one else does. Creating emotional safety is perhaps the most crucial step in anima mirroring. Many men have spent lifetimes being told to suppress vulnerability, so when they encounter a woman who not only allows but welcomes their emotional expression, the effect is profound. This doesn't mean pressuring him to share before he's ready. Rather, it's about cultivating an atmosphere where openness feels natural. When he does reveal something personal, whether it's a fear, a childhood wound, or an unconventional dream, respond with attentive silence rather than immediate reassurance. Avoid the temptation to fix his feelings or pivot the conversation to your own experiences. Simply reflecting back what you hear, that sounds like it really shaped how you see things, validates his emotions more powerfully than any advice could. This quiet acceptance creates a bond far deeper than surface-level attraction. Subtle reflection of admired qualities forms the bridge between understanding his anima and creating genuine connection. If he's drawn to creative expression, share your own artistic impulses, not as imitation, but as an authentic revelation of that dimension within yourself. A man whose anima values intellectual depth will feel magnetized when you engage with his ideas while adding your unique perspective. The key lies in finding natural points of alignment between his unconscious ideal and your genuine traits. This isn't about constructing a persona to please him, it's about emphasizing the parts of yourself that already resonate with his anima while remaining fully authentic. The distinction is crucial. People sense when they're being mirrored mechanically versus when someone truly shares a facet of their inner world. A critical warning shadows this process. The line between attunement and inauthenticity is perilously thin. Over-identification with his anima can backfire spectacularly, creating either a cloying intensity or an uncanny valley effect where your behavior feels slightly off. The anima works its magic precisely because it's an unconscious projection. When someone tries too deliberately to embody it, the spell breaks. This is why the most effective mirroring happens organically, emerging from real shared interests and emotional truth rather than calculated performance. If you find yourself constantly monitoring whether you're doing it right, you've likely strayed from authenticity. The women who succeed in creating this deep connection aren't those who mold themselves to fit a man's psyche, but those who naturally resonate with aspects of his inner world while remaining firmly rooted in their own identity. The paradox of anima mirroring is that its greatest power lies in what you don't do. You don't analyze him aloud, don't point out the psychological patterns you notice, and certainly don't announce your strategy. The magic dissipates under the harsh light of conscious scrutiny. Instead, you simply become a person with whom his unconscious feels at home, someone who speaks the language of his deeper self without needing to name it. This explains why some relationships feel fated while others struggle. When a woman aligns with a man's anima naturally, he experiences not just attraction, but a soul-level recognition that this is someone who speaks to parts of himself even he doesn't fully understand. And that is the foundation of a connection that transcends the superficial to become something truly extraordinary. Carl Jung's work reveals a profound truth about human relationships. While surface-level attraction may ignite initial interest, it's the meeting of souls that sustains love over time. Superficial charm, whether based on physical beauty, status, or calculated flirtation, operates like fireworks, dazzling in the moment, but quickly fading into darkness. The anima connection, by contrast, functions more like the steady pull of gravity, an invisible force that grows stronger with proximity and time. Jung understood that what we call chemistry often stems from this unconscious recognition, where two people sense an unspoken alignment between their deepest selves. This explains why some relationships withstand life's storms while others crumble at the first challenge. The former are built on bedrock, the latter on shifting sand. Consider the stark contrast between two hypothetical women pursuing the same man. The first relies entirely on conventional assets. She's physically stunning, always impeccably dressed, and keenly aware of social status. She flirts skillfully, drops hints about luxury lifestyles, and keeps conversations light and playful. Initially, she may capture his attention, even his admiration. But over time, something crucial remains missing. Their interactions feel pleasant but never profound, like admiring a beautifully wrapped gift without ever discovering what's inside. He enjoys her company but doesn't feel compelled to open up or deepen the connection. When life gets difficult or distractions arise, the relationship withers because it was never rooted in anything substantial. Now observe the second woman. She may not turn heads when entering a room, but when she speaks, the man finds himself leaning in unconsciously. She notices how his voice changes when discussing his childhood piano lessons and later shares how music affects her. When he mentions struggling with a career decision, she asks thoughtful questions that help him clarify his own thoughts rather than offering quick fixes. She laughs at his jokes but also creates comfortable silences where deeper truths can emerge. Over time, he realizes she's the only person who truly grasps his contradictions, his ambition and his self-doubt, his logic and his secret romanticism. With her, he doesn't need to perform or pretend, and this freedom becomes addictive. While he might initially date the first woman, he'll likely commit to the second, because she doesn't just occupy his attention, she occupies his heart. This distinction explains why some women consistently inspire deep devotion regardless of conventional attractiveness, while others wonder why their relationships remain frustratingly shallow. The former have intuitively mastered speaking to the anima. They recognize that a man's lasting loyalty isn't won through external validation, but through making him feel fundamentally understood. When a woman can reflect back to a man parts of himself he barely recognizes, she becomes irreplaceable. This is why men will sometimes leave objectively perfect partners for someone who seems less impressive on paper but connects with them on this soul level. It's not about logic. It's about the unconscious yearning for wholeness that Jung identified as the driving force behind our most powerful attractions. The crucial takeaway isn't that looks or charm don't matter, they simply aren't enough on their own. The women who create legendary love stories aren't necessarily the most beautiful or witty, they're the ones who become mirrors to a man's deepest self. They pay attention to what lights him up inside, remember the stories he tells only once, and create space for him to exist without judgment. In doing so, they tap into an ancient psychological truth. We don't fall in love with perfection, we fall in love with recognition. When a man encounters a woman who seems to know him better than he knows himself, no amount of superficial attractiveness can compete. This is the alchemy of lasting attraction. Not the sparkle of surface charm, but the quiet glow of being truly seen. What makes this approach so powerful isn't just that it helps you attract better partners. It fundamentally changes how you experience relationships. When you start looking beyond the obvious and train yourself to notice what truly makes a man come alive, you develop a rare form of emotional intelligence that sets you apart. This isn't about playing games or manipulating outcomes. It's about cultivating the ability to connect on a level most people never reach. The women who master this don't just win his heart, they become the kind of person others describe as memorable, unforgettable, or the one who got away. And the beautiful part? This skill only deepens with time and practice. So here's your call to action. Start observing differently. Next time you're with a man you're interested in, resist the automatic checklist of surface qualities. Instead, become curious about his hidden dimensions. What makes his eyes light up when he's unrestrained? What topics he circles back to unconsciously, where his vulnerabilities peek through the cracks of his confidence? These are the golden threads that, when pulled gently, reveal the tapestry of his authentic self. The woman who learns to spot and honor these subtleties doesn't just stand out, she becomes someone he can't imagine living without. Now we turn this over to you. Have you ever experienced that rare, electric connection with someone where it felt like they just got you in a way no one else did? What was it about them that made you feel so deeply understood? Or perhaps you've been on the other side, where you noticed something profound about someone else that they hadn't fully recognized in themselves. Share your experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear which parts of this exploration resonated most with your own life. Your story might help others recognize these powerful dynamics in their own relationships. If this perspective on love and connection sparked something in you, don't let the exploration end here. Hit that like button if you found this valuable. It helps us create more content that cuts through the superficial dating advice. And consider subscribing, because we dive deep every week into psychology-backed insights that help you build extraordinary relationships. From decoding attachment styles to exploring the shadow aspects of attraction, we're committed to helping you navigate love with both wisdom and heart. Because in a world full of swipe-left superficiality, the people who understand these deeper truths don't just find love, they create the kind of soulful connections that last lifetimes. Remember, the quality of your relationships reflects the depth of your understanding. When you learn to see people at this level, you don't just change your love life, you change your entire experience of what connection can be. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore even more transformative insights into the psychology of extraordinary relationships. Until then, look deeper, connect truer, and love wiser.